afternoon, everyone. My name is Trisha Stetzel. I'm the owner of Results Extreme Business Solutions, and I am so excited to be here today with Seth Saldivar from Fairway Mortgage. Hey, Seth.
Hey, Trisha.
We're going to be talking today about, I know everyone wants to know, can I skip my mortgage payment? But we're going to get to that later. So what I'd really like to do first, Seth, is if you would just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your business. And the very first question I have for you, and you can lead right into it, is how has COVID-19 affected you and your family at home?
Awesome. So Seth Saldivar, Fairway Mortgage. I am a residential loan officer here in the greater Clear Lake area. So COVID-19 and this pandemic has definitely affected me and my family. So we have to work from home. So we've been doing that. It seems 24/7. And then I have two kids. I have a middle schooler and an elementary age. And so we've now transitioned into homeschool. And so it's been a big transition. My wife's been helping them with their studies in the morning. And so it's transitioning to working 100% from home and having the kids at the house. And of course, they want to play with dad and they want to do all the fun stuff. And so definitely been a transition. And then we're social. We're social people. Going over to friends' houses for dinners, people coming over for coffee. And, we have to cut all that out so that it feels like a piece of us is missing because we're very social and we've had to kind of put that on hold for a while. And so it's been a big change. Actually, last week, I think there was a 2 or 3 day period where I just didn't go outside because I was working so much and it's to stay at home. And so when I opened the back door and smelled fresh air, I was like, oh, that's what that smells like. So definitely a transition, definitely different times that we're living in.
Yeah, absolutely. And having everyone at home makes a big difference when you're trying to work from home and trying to set boundaries, right? Like you said, the kids want to come in and play. We don't have kids at home anymore, but I have dogs that like to sit in the office and bother me when I'm trying to work. But we were working from home quite a bit before. It's just now it seems like it's so many more hours sitting in the office, right? Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that you took the time to talk to me today. I was going to say my very first question, but now it's my second question. Thank you for sharing about you and your family and how it's affected you, because I think most of the people who are listening or watching this video right now are probably going through some of the same things. Having kids at home and homeschooling, gosh, we've never done that before. What does that look like, right? And how stressful it is. But everyone needs a schedule. I think that is really the key, right, is to keep everyone on schedule. The next thing I want to ask you, how has COVID-19 affected your industry?
That's a great question. So it has affected it quite a bit. Some of the first things we began to see is some of our buyers that we work with, they began to experience some of the strain. Some people have lost their jobs. Some people have been furloughed. And so people that were in the process of buying a home, and then now we have to kind of redirect and shift and change. Some of the things that happened with the stimulus package that was signed into law, that's had an impact on mortgages. So some things that help a lot of people, but in an indirect way has actually hurt the mortgage industry. The Fed is buying a lot of mortgage-backed securities. That is affecting things. So there's a lot of technical things going on, but I spend at least an hour to 2 hours a day learning about the new updates. Things are coming at us every day with changes. But just to give you an idea, at one point we had a zero requirement for credit score. You can actually have a no score and get an FHA loan. Well, as of today, they're changing that to a 660 is the minimum requirement. And so people that were approved last week, now this week aren't, just because of some of the changes that are happening. And that's just one example. Another thing that's happening is because the Fed is getting involved in the mortgage-backed security market, it's influencing the mortgage rates. And so mortgage rates are acting very crazy. They're artificially high. So there's just a lot of things. Rates are different. Products are different. The rules and guidelines are changing, and it's happening at a very rapid pace. And so there's a lot of changes, and there's a lot of people that are getting bad information. There's a lot of bad information on the internet. Unfortunately, even some of the news reports are reporting things halfway or misquoting things, and then people are taking that in and they're acting on it. And so we're staying very busy educating ourselves, but then helping educate others on what are the changes, what do they mean, and how to navigate through all those things that are happening.
Yeah, it's so, for a consumer, right, it's super confusing because we don't know. There's so much information coming at us. And of course, we all use Dr. Google, right, to
Right.
find information. And certainly it could potentially lead you down a path that is irresponsible, right? So the question we all want to know is, or the answer that we all want to know is, can I skip my mortgage payment?
So that's what everybody wants to know. Actually, that's written into the stimulus package, is forbearance. And that's one of the things that actually is making a big impact on the mortgage industry. So let me explain what forbearance is, and then talk about how that affects mortgage and then how it affects the consumer. So forbearance is a specific period of time where a consumer can not make their mortgage payment. Now, there's some ramifications, some consequences. So let's talk about that. Okay. So for the mortgage company, the people that own your mortgage, it severely affects how they can operate and how they can do business. And let me explain. So if you are paying your mortgage, you're going to pay the actual loan part, right? Principal and interest. Right. But most Americans also pay their taxes and insurance with mortgage. Well, if you're not making that payment for 1, 2, 3, 4 months, guess what? The mortgage company still has to make those insurance and tax payments and interest payments. Mortgage companies, they have to pay interest and dividends to aggregators, and ultimately it goes to the stock market. Those payments have to keep going. And so if 25% of Americans stop paying and the mortgage companies have to foot the bill for 25% of Americans, we're talking trillions and trillions of dollars of mortgages that could potentially break the system. And so that's part of what is affecting some of these rule changes and some of these interest rate changes, is anticipation of what happens tomorrow, because tomorrow's April 1st. And that will be the first day that this can go into place. And so it's having a big negative impact on the mortgage industry. But let's talk about the consumer, because if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, you're probably not leading a mortgage company. You're probably thinking about your personal home. So let's talk about that. They're going to give you a specific time frame. So maybe 2, 3 months. I know that the law says, the directive says up to 12 months. So you could literally go to a year without making a payment. But, well, let's talk about what happens during that time. The mortgage company cannot report negative information to the credit bureaus. So they can't report that you're late. They cannot charge you for any late fees. They can't charge you for any additional fees or interest. And they also can't do any collection activities. So they can't call you. They can't send you nasty letters or emails. They're going to leave you alone. It's as if you were paying on time during that forbearance period. The catch is, when the forbearance period is over, all of those payments are due and payable immediately. So let's say you skip 3 months. Let's say you skip April, May, and June, and you don't make those payments. On July 1st, if that's when the period ends, you now owe 4 mortgage payments. And if you don't pay them, you're now in default, and the foreclosure process will start. So it's very, very important that you understand what forbearance means. Now, they could, this is what's unfortunate, is some news stories have come out that they could put these payments at the end of the loan and truly skip them. They could do that, but as of today, the 31st, they haven't. That's not part of the stimulus package. That's not part of what's been put in action. What's been put in action is a forbearance, which means at the end of the period, you'll owe every payment you've skipped immediately. And most folks just can't do that. Most folks can't make 4 mortgage payments at one time. Mm. So it's super important that you know exactly what it means. My suggestion is if you have questions, call your servicer, call the company that you're currently making your payments to, and get the information directly from them, because they're gonna tell you exactly what's going on.
Thank you, Seth. Wow, that is a lot of really great information, and I appreciate you sharing that with me. I'm over here taking notes for myself because I want to make sure that I post some of this stuff in Facebook to get people's attention to actually listen to this entire talk, because what you have to say is super important to all of us consumers, especially those of us who are carrying a mortgage right now or may soon carry a mortgage if we qualify. So I know the answer to this question, but I want to get it out there so that everyone else can understand how great you are. I love having you as a referral partner. I love that you're in my networking group and we get to meet every single week. You're absolutely credible and professional and take great care of all of your clients. I think as your networking partner, I always think about you being the guy who is starting the mortgage, right? You're helping the home buyers get their mortgage. I never really think about you being the guy that services the mortgage. And that's kind of where we're at right now. And I find that gives me a different perspective, right, on where you're at. You're not just helping people buy homes all of the time, but you're also servicing their mortgages as, you know, through the lifetime of their mortgage. And I think that's super important that you're educated and so professional about taking care of your clients. So there are hundreds of loan officers in our area. Why should people reach out to you? What makes you different from all of the other loan officers?
Oh, thanks. That's a great question. And by the way, I love what you do, and so glad that you're in our group as well, because I think you're fantastic. So it's an excellent question. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of loan officers in the Houston area. So I would say 2 things. Number one, I know what I'm doing, which sounds like a given, but it's not. That don't. And so I have the experience, I have the education, but a big part of what I do, I'm committed to learning. And so a big part of what I do, I have a finance degree from University of Houston, so I know the technical stuff, but I'm committed to knowing what's happening today, committed to knowing the changes, what's the market doing, what are the rules. And so when somebody has a question, I want to know the answer before they ask it. And so that's a big part of what I do. And I always tell people, if you needed to have heart surgery, hopefully you never do, but if you did, would you want the guy that's done 1 or 2, or would you want the guy that this is all he does is heart surgery? And I want the second guy. So that's me. I am a mortgage surgeon, and that's all I do. But the second thing, which I think is even more important, is this is my home. I've been in the Clear Lake area my entire life. I went away to college and then came back and finished at U of H. And I'm raising my family here, but for 4 decades, this has been my home. And so I care about everybody that I help. It's not just another transaction for me. These are families with stories and names, and I care. I care about the experience they have. I care about, do we get them a good deal? I care about, are they understanding everything that's happening and what's going on? And I think that makes a big difference. When you work with a professional at a high level, a doctor, an attorney, a business coach, you can tell if they really care about you or if they're just doing their job. And that's one thing that me and the rest of my teammates, we take a lot of pride in that. We truly care. We truly care about the families that we're helping. It means a great deal to us. the experience that they have as they go through the home buying process. The realtors, our referral partners that we work with, they're family, they're friends. And so to me, that's the biggest differentiation, is that this is our home. We're not going anywhere. We're going to be here. And so we care about each and every family we help, because this is our community. This is our family. And we want to treat them exactly how we would expect to be treated.
Yeah, I love that. Oh my goodness. I'm like, oh, that feels so good. I'm so glad that I know you. I'm so glad that you're my referral partner and a friend. And thank you so much for spending a few minutes talking about the current state of affairs with us today. Would you just voice us how to contact you if we have any questions or we need to reach you?
Absolutely. So we'll put information in the comments. My direct phone line is 713-591-5298. And then my website is just my name, www.sethsaldivar.com. And there's all kinds of information there. And but just know that we're a resource. And if you have questions or need help or direction, you can reach out to us at any time.
I love that. Thank you so much. Seth Saldivar, Fairway Mortgage. I appreciate your time today. Trisha Stetzel, Results Extreme Business Solutions, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.